There's some new polling that just came out in a key demographic for Democrats, namely young folks. Whenever Democrats win national elections, it's because there's a surge of young voters. That's what happened with Barack Obama twice, and the lack of enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton sort of did her in. Biden was a unique case because the anti-Trump fervor was so strong that there were there's a lot of movement in the suburbs away from Republicans and towards Democrats in 2020 for Biden. But generally speaking, the younger demographic is the bread and butter of the Democratic Party. I mean, sort of the backbone of the Democratic Party, just like African-American voters. And this poll really says something. Take a look. Among 18 to 29-year-olds, this is the net favorability of the following. Bernie Sanders, plus 12. This was taken in November. Biden, plus 2. Harris, supposed to be the heir apparent, minus 3. Pelosi, minus 22. Trump, minus 33. Now, listen, it's a little bit of a different scenario for the Republicans because younger folks were never their bread and butter. So this is not their wheelhouse, okay? But for Democrats, it is their wheelhouse. Bernie plus 12, Biden plus 2, Harris minus 3. Now, I can't stress this point enough. This is in November. So that means where Biden has been in power for a while, and you have all the dirty, backwards, disgusting, grotesque negotiations going on over Build Back Better. Bernie fighting every step of the way behind the scenes, was able to get us the compromise of the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which was a phenomenally popular piece of legislation when you go issue for issue. People love the stuff that's in there. Even Republicans love the stuff that was in there when they were asked issue for issue. And Bernie is a rare politician in this sense. Usually, the more people see of him, the more people like him. That's very rare for a politician. Usually, the more they see you, the more they hate you, because they see how vacuous and vapid you are and how you really believe in nothing, and it's all posturing and for self-aggrandizement. Bernie's got nothing to do with that. Now, I have my criticisms of Bernie. I think he's a little bit naive about how power works. I think oftentimes he's too quick to throw his lot in and with the Democratic Party and sort of go along to get along in many ways. I don't think he has that killer instinct and knows how to fight and knows how to twist arms. But having said that, there's no doubt his heart is in the right place. He means well, and he really wants these policies, and he's doing everything he can from his perspective to get it implemented behind the scenes. Now, so people see what's going on with that Build Back Better negotiation. They know who's representing their interests, Bernie, and they know everybody else is basically a snake. So even after Biden's been in office for a while, Bernie's been in the public eye because he's been front and center in these negotiations. His approval rating is still plus 12 over water. Every time they poll who's the most liked senator in the country, you know who wins that poll? Bernie Sanders. So it's not just young people. It's not just young people. It's the rest of the country too. And there's even a lot of people who might self-describe as moderate or describe themselves as conservative who say, look, I may not agree with the guy on a bunch of things, but fact of the matter is I think he's honest and I think he's authentic. That's Bernie. We told you so. We warned you. How clear were Bernie supporters from the beginning? Look, he actually is the safer bet against Trump. It's not Biden who's the safer bet against Trump. Because in 2016, we ran the experiment. Hillary was the safe option, right? She had higher name recognition. She was more established and went with her. She ended up losing to Trump. Biden's main argument was like, hey, you can't take any risks here. I'm the safe option against Trump. I have more electability. You know what? He did win the election. But now look what's happening since he's been in office. It's been a steady decline the entire time. He was riding high with the first COVID rescue package and the $1,400 checks. And then ever since then, it's been plummeting. Now he's at 38%. There was one poll that had him at 36% approval rating. We warned you as Bernie supporters. Do you think if Bernie Sanders was president right this second, his approval rating would be 36%? There's not a single American or even a single Biden supporter who can say, yeah, I think Bernie's approval rating would be 36% if he was in power right now. You know how I know that's not true? Because Bernie Sanders would have done, on executive orders alone, his approval rating would be like 45% or higher. On executive orders alone, and I'm being very conservative by saying 45%. Because it was clear he was going to legalize marijuana. He was going to pardon nonviolent drug offenders. He was going to take some sort of action on student loan debt. I mean, he could have totally eliminated it, but even if Bernie was somehow talked out of that behind the scenes from Democratic staffers, he was going to at least do like $50,000 worth of student loan debt elimination just through executive order. He was going to give more people health care using executive orders, which he can do. He has the authority to do, as we've covered before, and David Dane wrote a great article on that. Just through the power of executive orders, he was going to do more. Even if you say he's totally stonewalled when it comes to Congress, just through executive orders, he would have done more, and his approval rating would be higher, and the Democrats would be looking up for the midterms. We'd be talking about maybe Democrats picking up more seats in the midterms. We told you so. You don't fight fake populism on the right with milquetoast neoliberalism on the Democratic side, because, guys, it was milquetoast neoliberalism which led to the rise of the fake populist right. You're going back to the problem that gave us Trump in the first place. And so I don't know how much more clearly I could say I told you so, and we told you so, but we fucking told you so. There was a warning from the Bernie left. Now, a lot of Bernie supporters early on, myself included, thought there's no way Biden can even beat Trump. Then we had the pandemic, and then I flipped my prediction as we got closer to the election, and I was like, I think Biden can win this thing. In fact, I thought he would win 360 or something electoral votes on the day of the election. Turns out he won just over 300, so he underperformed. But he won, and then now, ever since he's been in office, the exact thing that we warned you would happen is exactly what's happening. The exact thing that we said would come to pass is coming to pass. This is what happens when you believe in nothing. What does Joe Biden stand for? What does he believe in? What does Joe Biden believe in? I'll tell you what, the thing that I think is most motivating him is maybe just, I want to one-up Obama, because he felt slighted by them. He felt like they all looked down on him, and they did, the Obama administration. He wants to one-up Obama, and he also still believes in this cult of bipartisanship for the sake of bipartisanship and going along to get along and changing the way Washington works in the sense that we all come together. An old school politician, backslapping politician. So in other words, the thing that's motivating him most is not policy, is not improving the lives of the American people, is not fixing the country, is not some commitment to New Deal liberalism. That's not what's driving him. That is the thing that's driving Bernie. And having that in you would have been enough in and of itself to keep his approval rating 45% or higher, and we'd be talking about Democrats in the midterms maybe picking up more seats. We warned you. We warned you. And the most frustrating part of it all is that this is a vicious cycle, and it's an abusive cycle. And now what'll happen is, when Democrats get wiped out, who's going to be blamed? The left. Which you think, like, how is that even possible? Oh, believe me, they'll find a way. They'll say, well, the problem was that with the reconciliation bill, it was too aggressive in the first place and too far-reaching in the first place, and that turned off voters. Even though the reality is, it wasn't aggressive enough, it wasn't far-reaching enough, and you didn't get any of the shit through. If you actually got it through, then you wouldn't have gotten wiped out in the midterms. They'll find a way. They always do. It's always the left's fault. It's always the left's fault. So just wait for it. It's coming. But look, I'm doing the I told you so beforehand. I'm doing the I told you so right now. Got Joe Biden at 38% or 36% approval rating. Mayor Pete at 37%. Kamala Harris at 28%. And these are the people that they're now writing articles saying, it'll be a great ticket to have Kamala and Pete on it. Yes. On what planet? Only among you and your fellow elite media ghouls. You're the only people in the country who like Mayor Pete and Kamala Harris. On what planet? They are so disconnected from reality, they can't even see straight. Well, we are not disconnected from reality. We warned you every step of the way exactly what would happen, and now it's happening. And Democrats have nobody to blame but themselves. Nobody. Because even in this terrible climate for Democrats, where all of them are just plummeting approval ratings, Bernie Sanders still has a plus 12 approval rating with young folks, and I'm sure if they took another poll, he'd be the most liked senator in the country yet again. Now, if that guy was president, it would be a totally different story. So don't say we didn't warn you. We warned you a million times, and you didn't fucking listen. And then when the shit hits the fan again, we know we'll be blamed. And you'll be just as wrong that time as you were the last 5 times. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.